Good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever this will be around the world. We are Theodora Africa / Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistants. These are my associates, Justina Ansa, Gifty Amwako, Mary Fiedese, Benedita Arabe, and we are here to talk to you about our program and what's transpired. We've been honored to be speaking at every one of the VCX conferences. We have a unique value proposition and theory. Our theory, which we are proving month by month, year by year, is that education alone is not enough to drive social impact. That if you really want to see social impact, you have to have clear job creation capability. And in our case, we are using virtual services because virtual services allow us to sell our services in economies where they pay way more for the same kind of work than we would get within our particular country that we're working in, which is Ghana, West Africa. So we have people in Ghana, West Africa, where it's hot, dry, and dusty, because I just came from there last week. And we have people like myself here in the high desert of New Mexico, where it's cold and not high and dusty. Anyway, so let's move on. I want to first of all give you an update of where we're at. So if you saw us in VC Latinx, you saw that we were talking about what we were doing and how we did it and what our nature is of working with small business. Well, we are really excited because there's a lot of things that have gone on in just a couple of months. First of all, and probably the most exciting of all, is that we are actually going to be profitable for the first quarter. Okay. So we've gone from a startup, from having to be funded through donations, through we are going to be covering all of our own expenses, plus showing a profit in the first quarter. For a social impact enterprise, that's amazing. That's like the holy grail. Um, we also are entering in some really exciting new arrangements with clients. So we have a client who is hiring full-time equivalent people. He's hired their first one for 6 months, and if he has happy with that, he'll be looking to add more. We've entered into a joint venture with a new CRM, Smart Desk. CRM, where they have asked us to be their outsourced customer service relationship. So these are things that have the potential to allow us as a virtual services business to greatly expand. So let's get into the topic for today. We want to talk to you a bit about transformation. Now, one of our key points in our whole program is that this is not just about selling services. It's not just about making money, though making money is really important. Don't get me wrong there. If you would ask any one of the four people here, they would tell you making money is really important. All right. And but there is a whole aspect of if you're going to be successful at social impact, and I don't care what group you work with, right? We at Theodora Africa are focusing on people who've had to resort to sex work to survive. What if you were wanted to deal with young men who have to do scamming, or you wanted to do, some other disadvantaged group, maybe because they're not having opportunity because of either religious or ethnic type of situation? You're going to have to deal with the issue of transformation. They're not instantly going to become capable and confident and believing in themselves so that they can carry this forward once you, the social impact enterprise, steps out. So we're going to have a little panel discussion here. This is not really highly scripted, where we're going to talk about the layers of transformation that have to go take place because it's not just like a one and done type of thing. It's something that keeps going on as you. So why don't we start off and let's see if we can define what you think the sort of the major transformation. I don't know if you call them events. Let's call them hurdles, or layers are. So the first one, right? Is when you first come in the program, right? So Justina, you walk through that. Well, you didn't walk through a door. You were locked up in lockdown.
Yes.
And somebody gives you a computer, right?
Yes, that's true. During the period of the lockdown, it was different because firstly, the training was about to start and we didn't know what we were doing, and then the lockdown. So we had to get the computers during the lockdown. So that was how difficult it is. But it was amazing because it gave us a different kind of learning, and the transformation was different because that gave us the ability to self-learn ourselves without having an actual person or individuals to do that as planned in the beginning. So the training was like, hey, what are we doing? What are you guys doing? And end of the day, we did it. Like the first time I had to do transcribe, I didn't even know what transcribing meant. And I had to transcribe a lot of things. I was confused. I kept calling my colleague Gifty. What will I do? How is this? In fact, what did you do? Can you send me yours? I was confused, but she had time, and we also had someone to help, Mr. Dance. He was part of the tutors was that supposed to tutor us physically before the COVID. So it was really helpful. It was amazing, and the transformation was real.
So, Mary, you've talked a lot about being the lab rat, lab mouse, that everybody, everything we tried first was on you. And yet you're alive here to talk about it. So I guess that everything we, offered was actually, going to be successful. Tell me about some of what you are feeling and your thoughts and, your doubts when you're starting in this program and somebody's, some white guy is going to come up and say, "Oh, you could sell services in the United States, no problem."
Right. Thank you, Michael. So for today, when I sit down and look back from where I started, I never believed that I would be able to achieve what I've achieved. I'll be able to reach this point because in the beginning, everything was so new. I didn't understand a whole lot of things. When I followed Michael and our other partners to meetings, I didn't understand anything that they were discussing. But then I just told myself I need to push through, I need to keep going. And when I was selected to be like the test to prove that this Theodora concept is going to work, I didn't really know that I could actually do the task that was given to me. I had to learn some things on my own and deliver to prove that we people in Ghana also have capabilities. We only need that opportunity to shine. And that really helped me to be able to open the doors for others, my colleagues, because if I didn't do well for this to stand, I didn't think the whole Theodora program will actually be a success because then they will feel like, okay, the proof didn't work, so I don't think people can do it. But
Yeah.
then pushing myself to get here has really proved that we have capabilities, and once we have the opportunity, we can make it.
So, Benedict, Gifty, talk let's riff a little bit on that, so I've heard both of you talk about, there's something we call in the West, maybe you've heard of it, imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is when you're doing something but you're not confident in what you're doing, and you figure out that somebody's going to figure this out, right? And they're going to figure you're an imposter, right? That you really don't know all this stuff. So you both talked to me personally one-on-one about, you know the challenges of where you came from and what kind of background and that gap, related to, um, you know, being and doing professional work, with somebody. Maybe you could talk about not just about what happened, but how you were feeling. What were some of these challenges that you were feeling that if somebody else was out there and they're going to do this program in Indonesia or they're going to do this program in Sri Lanka or something, right? What are some of the things that come up that somebody would need as a leader, let's say, of a program like this to help their people get through this?
Okay, absolute. The first time, what I felt was absolute terror. I felt as if, yeah, this can't happen. I felt as if I can't do it. I know I needed to do it, but I felt as if I can't do it. So along the line, with all the support I was getting from my colleagues I met there, after walking through the door, I actually was like, okay, this is a start. I'm doing something right now, but there is this, should I say, I would say it's lack of confidence in what I'm doing. I am learning it, I am doing it, I can see myself doing it, but I always felt it was not enough because I believe there was someone out there that's better than me, that can do it better than me. And I was always worried that, oh yeah, someone will notice that I didn't do this right. They would look for faults in it, even if it's right. So it got to a point, I got a lot of support, emotional support. Yeah, you can do it and all of that. But still, like just at the back of my head, I kept hearing that voice that goes like, yeah, no, you think you're doing it, but you're not doing it. So it's like with time and a lot of support. And I would actually appreciate all my colleagues because they've been so much of a support. At times I do some things and it's right, but I know it's right, but I feel it's wrong. So I believe for someone that will be doing something like this, they would actually need a support system. Yeah, so yeah, an absolute support system, or else, if I hadn't gotten the support I needed from my colleague, I do not believe I would be here today. Because with their support, that was why I was willing to push through. Because it got to a point, the self-doubt was so much, I was like, it's not worth the stress because I have work stress and the continuous thought of me not being able to do it is also there. So it kept affecting how fast I pick things up and how fast I could learn things. Something that I believe I could have gotten in like maybe in about 2 or 3 tries, but that self-doubt keeps making it so hard for me to pick it because I keep doubting myself. I believe if someone wants to work on this, they would need a support system for whichever group they'll be reaching out to.
Yeah. So, Gifty, that resonates with you?
Yes, it does. So I quite remember when I started Theodora Ghana. I think my background, I haven't worked hand in hand with other people in an industry like this, or even in my family, we don't do that. So coming to Theodora, anything I does, I was thinking I was not doing good. So it's prevents me from reaching out to people to assist me. Instead, I end up doing it all by myself. But later on, I realized I do not need to do it that way. I need to speak out, to ask for help when I need help from my colleagues. And at the end of the day, I get help from them. And also, they help me in learning. There are certain things I can't figure it myself. I reach out to them and I get to learn from them as well.
So we're going to be losing Justina soon. She has a meeting with a very important client. So, clients always come first. So you talk about the support system that you have. You talk about the number one, the fact that, that you come into something like this, and even though it sounds so nice and smooth and glossy, oh, we're just going to take people off the streets, we're going to turn them into virtual assistants. Oof. You know, not quite that easy, right? Takes a lot of work, and you're dealing with a lot of self-doubt. And you've pointed to the fact that we've got a support system. But I will tell the audience that that support system did not happen all by itself. And in fact, it was really hard to develop. So I'd like you ladies to talk a little bit about how the challenges of transforming from people who are literally, I'm on my own, I'm on the streets, I can't trust anybody, I have to take care of everything for myself, to becoming a cohesive group. And we'll just go and start with you, Mary, then we'll go to you, Benedicta, and go to you, Nas. And let's be honest about some of the conflicts and the stresses that we had in the organization as we tried to build this, because that's what people who are going to try to do this need to know.
Right. So initially, from the background we are coming from, most of us are left on our own. You do everything by yourself. You don't collaborate with people. So coming into an environment like this where you have to collaborate with people, you have to be a team. It was very difficult in the beginning because we are all ladies and women have issues. I don't know about other countries, but in Ghana, it's very hard for women to get along. We will have a little misunderstandings in the beginning before we will get to that point, become like supporters of each other. So we went through all that. We are a team of women. So we went through all the struggles, all the quarrels, all the everything that can actually break a team relationship. But then I believe with time, we all understood where we are all coming from. The background we are all coming from is painful, is sad, those kind of things really puts us into this situation. So once we came together, we became a team, understanding that everybody have something they are going through. Everybody is going through something, but then we can only solve that by becoming one, supporting each other. And that is when the team started bonding. We started finding friends in each other. We started getting along well. And that is how it built over time. We became a team. We started sharing ideas, talking about personal matters to get advice and information from other people. And that has built over time. I know we are not perfectly there yet, but from where we started and where we are now, we are at peace, we are harmony, we are a team.
Benedicta, you've had your share of issues with people along the way as you've grown and developed as a person. So talk about that a little bit.
Yes, about that, I would say it all boils down to trust. Actually, going from one environment to another, it takes a whole lot of trust to be able to open up to people. And as Mary said, coming from our background, it's like you feel everybody's out to get you. That's one thing. Because like people see you, they look down on you, they talk to you in specific ways. So at that point, you get defensive. Over time, you kind of just build this defensive wall around yourself. So you see problems where there are no problems. Now, take a bunch of people like that and put them in the same place. That's just a recipe for disaster if you're not careful. Yeah, because I've seen situations that could have just been talked over, kind of just get blown out of proportion just because of just a little bit of communication and because we do not trust each other. And excuse me, something else is I would say at times we just ladies, we kind of just pick faults in everything. So when someone is saying something, we overthink them. And when you overthink things, you start going with scenarios in your head. With a bunch of ladies with our backgrounds and with our defensive actions. So it takes trust. It took some time to trust people with your secret. It took some time to trust people to understand how you're feeling. It took some time to trust people enough to tell them exactly how you feel and not just go with the I'm okay when you're not okay form. So I would say it took time to build the trust, but as Mary said, we've gotten somewhere. We are not 100% there yet, but we've gotten to a point where we can trust each other and tell each other about not just work-related issues, but personal issues, because this person is there to support you. This person would listen and they would understand exactly where you're coming from and they'll be able to support you. Yes, I would say it takes a whole lot to trust, but once we can trust, it's been great from there.
Yeah, that's really powerful, powerful. So now, as you've gone through your own incredible journey of transformation, you know, talk to us about sort of the same subject. I mean, I maybe I should say that. I mean, I can remember certain scenes in 2020, right, where I thought there was going to be blood on the floor, but
Yeah, so casting our mind back to that time too, I think each and every one of us have different background and how they react to certain things in the past. That time, I think none of us have this corporate attitude or some kind of how to react to situation. But coming to Theodora, meeting different kind of behaviors, attitude, and all these things, to me, I think like, okay, I have to adjust my mind into this culture that we are trying to build in the company so that I can forgo myself and be willing to learn from each other, to accept us being together and also understanding each other at the end of the day. So doing all these things made me to understand it's not everything that I have to take an action to it. Certain things I have to just forgo it because it's human nature, and there's some attitude I can't change from others. Some I have to understand what they are feeling at the moment and the way they respond to me at the moment. So later on, when they are calm, I just go to them and we discuss about it if it's needed. If it's not needed, I have to forgo it. So for me, thinking of myself sitting here today, I didn't believe I could be here relating a lot of issues and I mean, solving issue myself because I couldn't solve my own issue back then. But being together with our team, learning from each other, understanding and accepting each other has brought me to this far.
Great. So I hope everybody's getting the picture out there that, this is not an easy journey. Okay. It really takes an awful lot of effort. It's not just the technical training and the doing the work, etc. There's an awful lot related to behavior and behavior. I won't say behavior modification, but helping people and guide them to grow, etc. But that growth doesn't stop. That's one of the things as we were preparing for this presentation, and I was realizing some of the things that have just taken place. It's like, wow, we're going to go through yet another whole level of transformation. So I want to finish up with this section talking about that. So you three are all high level performers within Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistants. Okay. You are all three in incredibly responsible positions, and you're doing things way beyond what I know you would have dreamed about 2 years ago. All right. So I want you to talk. We wanted to have a discussion related to what you're feeling now in terms of stress, in terms of the kinds of transformation. So I'll just fill in the audience about this. So, um, Benedicta has just taken on one of the most difficult clients we've ever done. So this is a client that is hiring us as a full-time employee. All right. And he has incredibly demanding performance requirements in terms of turnaround time. And if we're successful with this, he's going to hire maybe 2 or 3 more people. I mean, it'll literally give us an opportunity to like transform 2, 3 more lives. It'll open up a whole new line of business. So Benedictus has this whole issue of I'm the one who's carrying the flag for the company, right? I've got to do this. She's got somebody working with her, but it really is Benedicta's, client and opportunity. So there's one set of, and you heard her talk about 2 years ago, right? Not even believe she could do something. So now she's at this level where she's going to, and she takes care of a lot of clients extremely well. Right. So she's got this transformation. We've got Mary Fiodese, who is business development, and Mary can talk to you very eloquently about being thrown into a situation where I don't want to talk to people. I don't like to talk to people. Now, Mary is a great closer. I wouldn't say Mary and I very open, doesn't love networking, doesn't like it out there, not a schmoozer, whatever, but she's in charge of business development, right? And she's learning this whole new joint venture with SmartDesk CRM is going to be on her plate. All right. And email drip. So that's another whole like jump from this person who was our lab mouse and, running around to meetings like, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. And then we have, Gifty here, who I've made who's our director of operations. Right. And she is really in charge of everything that's going on. She's got huge amounts of responsibility on her, and not the least of which is that the CEO is constantly asking her various things, which always disrupt her day. And so I want you guys to talk a little bit about some of your concerns right now as you're going to this next level, okay? Because this is true of everybody, right? We're all on this journey, and I could talk about the fact that I'm out there raising money and whatever, and it's at a level that I've never done before. How am I going to do this? So let's just be open, honest, talk to people about some of your concerns, just so that everyone understands that if you're going to get on this journey, it doesn't stop. You're signing up for the transformation highway. All right. So, Gifty, why don't we start with you? Then we'll go with Mary and we'll finish up with Benedicta, okay?
All right. So my concerns are one, I think it will come to a time we have to still recruit other members that will be needing training and also supervising. So sometimes my concern is how am I going to handle all of these people when they come to us to work with? That's one of my concerns. And also how fast I can learn to be able to teach our other girls to pick up so that when we bring in new people, they can also assist in teaching them also. And also how to also relieve myself from stress and not overwork myself
Mm-hmm.
to, get sick or something like that. So that's my concern at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mary?
Okay, so for me, I usually think about how we are going to maintain our clients, getting new clients, being a business development manager. If we are not getting in clients, it affects me. If we are losing clients, it affects me. So I'm always hoping that we are able to get as many clients as we can handle and maintain those ones that we have so that we don't lose clients and we don't lose money because we are building a future and we want to make it as easy as possible for even those who will come on board. And so one, that is my concern. Another concern of mine is even though I've reached this far, I keep asking myself, can I really do this? Am I really fit for this? This really something that I can do? Because yeah, it's all new to me, but we are learning to get better at it. But sometimes it gets difficult when you are mixing this work stuff with personal life. Getting around in Ghana alone is not easy. So sometimes it gets so overwhelming that you keep asking yourself, are you really fit for this position? Can you do
Mm-hmm.
it? But then I know that I belong here, and with the dream and the motivation to help other women. I know it's not going to be easy, but we are definitely going to go through that. So even though there are concerns, we know when we get to that bridge, we will cross it.
Great. Thanks, Mary. Benedicta, why don't you close up on this with this roundtable on transformation?
I would say concerns, there are some. I remember making a joke with our HR person, Miriam, about why do you always give me the complicated clients? Why?
Because you're the
Yes,
lab
and
mouse now.
I was like, okay, Miriam, why? Because for some reason, most of my clients, they are complicated. Some clients, you just know exactly what you need to do. And for most of my clients, I need to just go learn new things almost every week. So my concern is, can I keep up with this?
Mm-hmm.
At times, I kind of just go like, how can I keep up with this? I'm learning for this client, I'm learning for this person. So most of the time, that's my concern. And gratefully enough, I actually end up like just being able to balance them. So most of the time, my concern actually don't really last long because no matter how much I get frustrated about it, and no matter how much I go to Miriam and kind of just bug her about it, I know this is not just for me, this is for us. And as Mary said, it's building something for the other ladies that will be coming after us. So I know I have to do it. I know I belong here. I know everything I do, everything I learn right now, and all those concerns with time, it will just be something that's in the past as were the concerns before. Now they've come and they've gone. I believe whatever concern I'm having now with time, it will be something of the past and we'll just keep moving forward. And I know there will be more concerns in the future, but when we get there, we'll just cross that. Yeah.
That's very well put, Benedicta, very well put. So, you can see that this is a journey, right? This is not a process. It's not a transaction. It's something that you keep going through. You keep growing and learning. You heard Benedicta mention Miriam Larry, our sort of hired, HR organizational development type person. I would strongly say everyone who's going down this path is going to need somebody like a Miriam, all right, who can help provide uh, you know, support, give you an ear, for people to talk to as they're going through this. So we're going to finish this off. I want to show people what it takes to actually create a program like this. Um, so let's see if I can do this. Okay. So what are the components of this Theodora Africa system? All right. First of all, you've got to have a market opportunity. This is one of the things we talked about is our innovation, right? You have to know where you're going to sell to, what it is. We feel, again, our model is all about wage arbitrage. We go to the United States, a virtual assistant in the United States averages cost full-time $29 an hour to $35 an hour. We're going to deliver $5 an hour. And obviously, it's got to be some sort of business service that can be done via outsourcing. All right. Next thing, really, really, really important. You have to have a champion. We call it the champion is the person who knows this marketplace. You can't do the training. Let's say, again, let's say I'm in Indonesia, all right, and I want to do this, and I want to sell to the Western United States. If you just market on your own, you're going to hit all kinds of headwinds. You need somebody who's in the country, who has a set of clients, who has a set of entree, who can show you what you need to learn, who is going to kind of guide this. I was the champion for setting up Theodora Ghana virtual assistants. Then you really need to understand your population you're dealing with. Now, we had a gentleman, Gail Grant, who was the person who really knew and understand the ladies. He actually recruited me to do to bring in the business side of this venture. I could never have done this on my own without having Gail's knowledge. Now I have these ladies who understand and know and will be able to handle this. But whatever population you're looking to serve are going to have all their own set of issues and problems, and you need to be prepared to deal with those. Then you create your education model. Now, your education model needs to deal with the specifics you need for serving the marketplace. All right. It needs to provide an environment that encourages transformation. Benedicta talks very eloquently about coming to Theodora Ghana for the first time and being told that you're not in Ghana anymore, you're in the United States, and just how the physical environment and being paid right away and being put to work right away gave that real meaning. All right. So you need to think about your education model in terms of behavioral training, emotional support training, technical training, and how you're going to create the environment that you really want to get the change that you want. And lastly, I feel very strongly about this, is that I think these models work best when they are owned by the participants. I'm not in favor of the entrepreneur model that we see in a lot of developing countries where one person owns a company and they hire a bunch of people who have capability and they're selling services, but they are really keeping almost all the money. And just a small amount of the money is going to the people. We are actually setting up an employee ownership trust, which will own the majority of the company and get the majority of the profitability of the company. We're instituting, we use open book management. I share all our numbers with the team. They know we work on developing an ownership mentality. If we have crisis, if people want to make more money, it's like, well, here's the numbers. Here's what we need to do. So those are the various component pieces of what it takes in order to be able to have a program like ours. So let's wrap it up. Any last comments, ladies, before we go? They all say, no, I don't want to talk anymore. I want to go back to work. Cool. All righty. Thank you all. We really appreciate the opportunity again. Please, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can contact Deb Dates. You can talk to Ron. You can and you can get our contact information. We're very happy to talk to people, and if perchance you are in the United States, Canada, UK, and could use some assistance, please feel free to call us. Bye.